Oi, lads. I see a dragon. I also see a 1 mana green instant. I see a 2 mana 3/1 white mythic. Okay. Ghost Caller's Harvest. Create X 2/2 zombies, where X is half the number of creature cards in your graveyard rounded up. Just garbage? It seems kind of bad. What's Decayed? A creature with Decayed can't block, and when it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. So you basically get to attack with it once. Like, it's shit. To be honest, this card would probably be bad. What the hell, man? Get rid of this blue thing. This card would probably be bad even if the creatures didn't have Decayed. Protectorus de Ciervus del Alba. Alba, guys, that's Scotland. 3 mana, 3/3 Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. Yep. This, like, 3 or more creatures thing is just absolutely awful. Okay. Liesa, the Forgotten Archangel. 5 mana, 4/5, Flying Lifelinker. Okay, that's great stats, by the way, for Goldspan. 4/5. So that, I mean, this is probably good straight away. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. Black-White Angels was already, like, I mean, it's a bad deck in Standard 2022, but with like a little bit of help it could be good. What 5 mana card do they play at the moment? The enchantment is 5 mana, right? No, the saga is 4 mana, the enchantment's 5, I think. Rampage of the Valkyries, yeah. I mean, to be honest, that Rampage is pretty good, but I don't know about this thing, man. It does trade favorably with Goldspan Dragon, which is not a bad thing in any way, but it doesn't do anything else, you know. Like this, whenever another creature dies, return it to its owner's hand thing is just like completely pointless because your opponent's going to use the removal spell on this when it's in play. The exile effect is the best part, to be honest. Bruv, exiling things instead of sending them to the graveyard is the most overrated thing in Magic, man. Crazy. Fuck it, like, it doesn't matter, dude. It's an interesting card. If anybody puts this in a deck, it will be literally because it's a 4/5 flyer and Goldspan is a 4/4 flyer. But I'm not convinced that you want this in any deck. A black-white mid-range deck would play Kaya for this mana cost. The Angel deck probably still wants to play the enchantment for this mana cost. Volderin Ambusher. When it enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, deal X damage to one target creature or planeswalker where X is the number of vampires you control. Nope, that's not good enough. Aura +2, +2, -2. It's kind of interesting. That's actually not terrible for, like, channeler decks in Historic, man. It's an enchantment, right? And you kind of struggle to get enchantments for red decks. There's some options, but a lot of them are only good in certain metas, right? Like Leyline and Vortex and stuff. Like a Luris channeler deck. Consistent removal, an enchantment for your channeler. Could be possible. The issue is that you kind of want to play it in a deck where using it on your own creatures is acceptable too. Which is not going to be the case in most Luris decks, although pretty cool with Arcanist, right? Make your Arcanist a 3/1. Pog Champ. And then you can recast your Wizard's Lightnings, mate. Or you put it on the Channeler itself, yeah? 5/1 flyer.
Oi, lad, smile.
Another Shock? Well, it's a lot better than Shock in like a Luris Channeler deck, right? The fact that it's an enchantment for Channeler and the Lurrus can replay this as a removal spell. Kind of doing like the dead weight thing. Pretty cool. Because red in Historic doesn't have any, not really, doesn't have any removal spells that you can replay off Lurrus. Where like Auras has got those, right? And those cards kind of carry Auras, to be honest. The dead weight type cards. Clean Talk Dragon. Hashtag Clean Talk Dragon. I hope that's not the real name. 5 mana 4/3 dragon. When it attacks, deal 1 to creature. If it's a zombie, deal 2. Wow. Anti-zombie dragon. Defend the Celestus. Distribute 3 counters among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures you control. So this is kinda like Blessing of the Snow or whatever it's called. Except you only get 3 counters instead of 4 and you don't get to draw up to 4 cards. Seems bad. Turn the Earth. Choose up to 3 target cards in graveyards. The owners of those cards shuffle them into their libraries, and you gain 2 life. Gas? This is terrible, man. Like, every time I see a card like this, I just compare it to Soul Guide Lantern, and I'm just like, what? Lantern is just an absurd card, isn't it? Lantern is so good that none of these other cards can ever compete with it. Unless you've got something like Ooze or Clothis, you know? Like, the cards need to be absolutely insane to play over a Lantern. This is a 2-in-1 card. How is it a 2-in-1 card? It's not a 2-in-1 card if both times you cast it, it doesn't fucking do anything. It's a 0-in-1 card. Alright, Augur of Autumn. 3 mana, 2/3, human druid. You may look at the top card of your library at any time you play lands in the top card of your library. As long as you control 3 or more creatures, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. I mean, that's obviously good. That's kind of decent when you have Coven. No, it's not, because you'll never have Coven, because have you ever played Magic before? There's not 4 creatures on either side of the battlefield at any point. Just the fact that you can play lands off the top of your deck is completely fine. I mean, I'll play this card in some Magic the Gathering decks. Alright, here we go. 2 mana 3/1 mythic white creature. 2 mana 3/1 lifelink. Okay, very cool. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 any number of times. When you pay that cost once or more, put that many courage counters on Indomitable Cathar. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each courage counter on Indomitable Cathar. Pure gas? Bruv, this thing's fucking shit. Reddit says it's modern playable. Yeah, but people on Reddit go on Reddit, so you just shouldn't ignore them. Guys, this thing... The problem with this thing is that, yes, it's kind of a mana sink, but... So it's okay in the late game. Its issue is that it's not good on turn 2. Remember your creatures? Remember the golden rule of creatures. It has to be good on curve and good in the late game. Unless it's a mana dark. This is not a mana dark. It's not good. It's not good on curve. It's not even that great in the late game, but at least it's okay. Yeah, the fact that you can only pay like on ETB is like scuffed, huh? If you could pay at any time, then maybe cool. This is alright on curve and alright late game. That's pretty decent. Okay, man. Seriously, do you want me to prepare you to be a card evaluating god? This is how you evaluate Magic cards correctly. You look at the card, you read it, you decide how good it is, out of 10. And then whatever number you've applied to that, take 2 off. And that's how good it really is. Black Lotus is an 8 out of 10. Black Lotus is unironically overrated card. My favourite thing about calling something overrated is that no human on planet Earth knows what the word overrated means. So it always makes people angry. If I say Black Lotus is overrated, what people hear is Black Lotus is the worst card of all time. But that's not what I said. Why does this card have to come in as soon as Heliod rotates? It's a good point. Is it playable in life gain and historic? I mean, just fat nope. I mean, to be honest, that deck could do with some mana sinks, but just no. Just no. Ecuador! Ecuador!